It's not a good idea.
No, so. I agree.
He's gonna shuffle here after Joe cracked that Scalding Tarn. Brainstorm from Alex.
I feel like we're looking for a force.
We must be. Don't know that he found one. I can't quite see, but I don't think so. It's going to be tough for him to fight through that. It has resolved.
That's one of the first stages of the game, is who can assemble Sensei's Divine Top plus Counterbalance, which Joe has been able to do before Alex. So now, can Alex push his spells through?
Alex again with the upkeep spin top.
See a Caracas here, and then a top. Okay. Reveal Jace the Mind Sculptor. Top is going to resolve. Kind of daring Joe to put his top back on top.
Sure.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah. So 2 tops for Alex. 1 top, 1 counterbalance for Joe. I think I'd much rather be Joe in this particular predicament. We know he had Jace the Mind Sculptor on top, although he did spin it, so it's possible that Jace did not remain on top. Alex untaps, draws his first fresh card of the game after, not necessarily fresh, but does not top on upkeep there. Plays the Scalding Tarn and passes back. Joe spins top, cracks Arid Mesa.
Cracking Arid Mesa is okayed by Alex, no responses.
He's gonna find a Tundra. Ooh, look at those forces all stacked together. I think there were 3 in a row.
And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna split those up and shuffle those.
Yeah. So Tundra likely going to spin the top again here at the end of Alex's turn. Give Joe a fresh look at the top of his library. Alex wants to change the top of his library first. Shuffle that again so all 3 of those Force of Wills are stuck back together again. At the bottom.
Where they belong.
Yeah. Alright, Joe puts him back, untaps, draws his card. Probably just going to go land go here.
Strand,
land counterbalance, number 2.
Getting on a very, very, very tough lock now. 2 counterbalance triggers going on the stack every time a spell is cast, so long as this one resolves. With the Flooded Strand, he's going to be able to likely find the mana cost necessary to counter whatever spell Alex is attempting to play.
Scalding Tarn cracks. Alex finds Tundra. Lots of fetching happening. And that's Legacy.
That is Legacy.
It's a fetching format.
It certainly is. Always trying to make fetch happen. So you see topping activated again. I think this is still in response to the counterbalance.
Yeah, I think so too.
And it looks like it's
no response.
Alright. See an Arid Mesa there. You see top in a turn. Spin, spin, spin all day long. Any response? This is a good opportunity for him to jump here in response to the spin because their Flood Strand was the only land that was left, but he didn't have much that he could do with it. If he had something to do, maybe a Vendilion Click.
Sure.
Would be a great time to kind of pounce.
Yeah, I imagine Alex either didn't see the opportunity, but I imagine it was more likely that he just didn't have anything to do there.
Yeah.
He's going to rearrange his top few cards.
Sack of the Arid Mesa there, putting Alex down to 18. And it's just going to clear his top. Wasn't happy with those 3 and get a land out of his deck.
Yeah, both players essentially just trying to get the best handful of cards before all the actual counter wars start. But Joe with quite an edge with 2 copies of Counterbalance, 1 Sensei's Divining Top. Alex with just 2 tops, which, you know, not the worst thing, but he would like to be able to resolve spells, and that's going to make it tough, that combination. Counterbalance and top on the other side of the board. So, Alex draws his card. Appears to have passed back, and Joe is going to go ahead, spin the top, seize the Tension Sphere, Jace, Brainstorm. probably doesn't want a detention sphere here, not for the Sensei's Divining Tops anyway.
Yeah, no kidding.
Could always flip his own top detention sphere away Alex's, although that would just likely cause Alex to start flipping his tops.
Yeah. Well, won't get too much done. Detention sphere not the best right now. It's pretty good at taking out counterbalance, but
yeah, it's not great at top. Not much is great at taking out top.
Indeed. As we see, a fetch land being sacked there by Joe. Alex considers his options and lets it resolve as Joe's going to, in a Tundra, start shuffling his deck and reset his top.
Top spinning.
Draw a card. Now it's Jace
Scalding
time.
Khanin? Yeah. Alright.
Now we're going for it.
Jace the Mind Sculptor on the stack.
With 2 fetch lands and 2 counterbalances in play, we're going to see a Force of Will put onto the stack here.
Removing Brainstorm and
Joe triggers both of the counterbalances, and says, "We are going to have a response to that, my friend."
I'm going to try to get a free counter off the top. Alex trying to, meantime, get that Force of Will to maybe light fire to that Jace.
Yep.
Trying to spark something over there. Soul Bond with that Jace. Take it to the graveyard. Alright, so 2 triggers. And he's going to top here. Okay, looked like he's going to just blind reveal. Seemed like a strange decision, and that was not what he was doing. So, doesn't look like he's found a 5. So, he's going to go ahead and crack a fetch again, get a fresh look, see if he has another opportunity to find a 5. He knows, he plays Force of Will as well. Just going to try to find one.
Interesting to see if it's worth such a fight over this Jace. And the reason I bring that up is just because the 2 fetch lands are gone now, so he can't do any resetting of his tops now.
Yeah, he's doing all the resetting right here. And he's going to spin again.
So if he kind of hits a stinker,
does not
he's in
find
trouble.
Yeah, does not find Force of Will. I believe he saw Detention Sphere, Stoneforge Mystic, and possibly land. Couldn't quite see, but that's it. Yeah, Joe Pass unable to mount any more than a couple of counterbalance triggers.
Now, what I think I saw for that card that was on top of Joe's deck was the 3rd card that we didn't see was another Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Oh, okay.
That's what
That's
what I think it is. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
But if that is the case, I like that he is leaving it on top of his deck, so that if Alex tries to send down his own Jace,
right, this is an opportunity to do that.
Yep.
And it's exactly what Alex is doing. Now let's see if you were right. The hesitation here. Makes me
think I'm not.
It was not Jace. It resolves. Yeah, it can't possibly be Jace.
Because I couldn't have flipped I wouldn't have been able to flip the top of my deck faster.
Maybe Jace. Maybe Jace plans to draw and play Jace to deal with Alex's Jace. Very unlikely. So, Jace resolves. Brainstorm happening. Now, we do know Joe has a detention sphere on top.
Yeah.
So that's going to take out the Jace. But
that's just one of the reasons I don't really like going for my own Jace there. Is just because did he have?
Are you? I was joking.
Oh no!
I was totally joking. Did he not just draw and play Jace? I mean, I can't. He must have had that Jace in his hand. Maybe he did. I kind of feel like I saw it. So I'm pretty confident he did. It just looked like he drew and played it because I think he just put a card in his hand and hurried up and played the Jace. But I'm pretty sure the Jace was already there in his hand.
Okay.
Alex has a response.
So there's that. This is going to be a top or counter spell here? It's going to be a top. Looks like he's looking for a Force of Will.
Yeah, see, I kind of wonder, I mean, if I'm Joe, I kind of would rather just detention sphere that Jace and then play my own.
I'm kind of under the same idea as you there.
Yeah.
And then now we have Entreating Angels in the house, and this is going to be real tough to counterbalance.
Yeah, so, although the detention sphere
Only for
was a nice answer.
only for 2. It's a bit of a surprise to me.
Yeah.
Because 4 is something that can be countered.
It resolves, gets him 2 angels, and...
And that's just going to be Alex's turn. So yeah, D-Sphere is a good answer here.
Yeah.
Get himself out of this
There
problem.
it is. Detention sphere. Alex, do you have an answer for the sphere? And...
Swords to guide's target.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's a nice way to try to break it up, but what he's going to end up doing here is potentially getting Joe to just put his top, flip his top.
Yeah.
So, alright, we've got a Swords to Plowshares
On the stack.
on the stack targeting one of the angels, the same angel that is being targeted by the Detention Sphere. And Joe wants to spin his top. In response, Alex spins his top,
Now you see
finds Brainstorm on top, counters the Swords to Plowshares, Detention Sphere resolves, hitting both angels. And Alex untaps.
We're back to board parity.
Yeah.
With Joe still ahead as he has been for most of the game.
Yeah, I wouldn't. It's not actually parity if one of them's ahead, though.
But I want it to be parity.
Okay.
I like the word parity.
Sure.
Joe, you're just gonna give me that one. I
I'm
appreciate
gonna
it.
give it to you. Yeah.
So nice. It's too late. You're not even putting up a fight anymore.
I'm too engrossed in this match.
We see Batterskull hard cast.
5 mana for a Batterskull. Jeez. Seems like he's overpaying. 5 mana for a Force of Will.
It seems like he's overpaying. Someone's overpaying here.
Yeah, so I'll use my 5 mana spell to counter your 5 mana spell. That's also one of the cards that Joe may have been looking for to counter Alex's previous Force of Will. Forgot about that one when we were thinking about it, when we were seeing Joe crack fetches and spin top repeatedly. So Alex is going to flip his top, and he finds Counterbalance.
Double trigger.
And here goes Joe digging for a 2, finds a Stoneforge Mystic. Bing! Countered. Alex cracks his Scalding Tarn. Volcanic Island.
Clear that top a little bit. So you see, it looks like Alex is going to try to make a move here because he knows that Joe has a 2 on top. He has a Senses on top that he can put on top, so he can try to resolve something, but he doesn't find anything good with top and just passes the turn back. We're going to see a spin on the upkeep, putting that there Stoneforge Mystic back in the deck, so he doesn't draw it, so he can always have access to a 2. He draws Terminus for the turn and just says go. Terminus, not of much use in this particular matchup.
Yeah.
Outside of dealing with Entreating Angels.
Sure. Really like the addition of Detention Sphere to the Legacy format.
I do too, actually.
That and
nice
Supreme
things.
Verdict, like being blue, can be removed to Force of Will. So we see a lot of action. Vendilion Click meets Force of Will, and Joe is going to go ahead and dig for an answer to the Force of Will. Does not find a 5 on top, I don't believe. May be able to find another answer. No. Vendilion Click successfully countered by a hard cast Force of Will from Alex. And Alex passes back. That was at the end of Alex's turn. Joe appears to have passed back, and Alex goes ahead and spins his top, untaps, and for the turn draws his card.
Yes, personally, I don't really love the way that Joe is playing this game.
Like,
he keeps just casting his threats as soon as he has them, instead of, further setting up, and he's just like some slam down Jace here.
Digs to a Jace, casts it, and here comes another hard cast Force of Will from Alex Khanin.
I just don't think his card should be. I don't think his card should be being countered by Force of Will when he can just wait until he finds a Force of Will.
Yeah.
And then just reveal Force of Will as counterbalance, and his Force of Wills just don't do anything, because how many threats does Joe actually have left?
All 3 Jaces are in Joe's graveyard.
Yeah.
Joe's already gone through his Jaces. He's Batterskull, I believe, has already been countered. Batterskull's in the yard. You're right. What threats does he have left? Vendilion Click, countered. Is Joe attempting to win this game basically on the back of his own Entreat and some Stoneforge Mystics that are going to attack for 1?
Yeah, because
I don't know.
Yeah, because Entreat, as good as it is, all Alex has to do is just find a Terminus, and that's taken care of.
Or a counterspell.
Yeah.
to deal with him. We'll see how this works out. It is interesting. He is kind of throwing each threat one for one at Alex, and Alex able to answer them one for one. So right now, Game 1 here, the finals of the StarCityGames.com Legacy Open. Board state. Alex Khanin currently casting a Jace the Mind Sculptor. Joe Bass going to try to find a 4 on top. He's not going to find a Jace on top.
Find a Jace to counter, yeah.
All Joe Bass's Jaces have been dealt with. They are all in the graveyard. So it appears that Alex has resolved his Jace.
You see, to me, this is something that just shouldn't happen. I don't know if you disagree with me or not, but like when you have top and 2 counterbalances and you've been spinning and spinning and spinning and fetching and fetching and fetching, and like you have complete control of the game, the opponent doesn't even have a counterbalance, like, and your opponent's just like cast Jace, and you're just like, yep. Like, it just doesn't seem like that should occur to me.
I agree with you. I think Joe had the counterbalance top combo on, was it turn 2? It was turn 2.
Turn 2.
The earliest possible time you could have it. Turn 1 top, turn 2 counterbalance. I don't know why we've gone this far. Joe is the one who's out of threats, and he's the one who's had all the free counter spells.
Yeah, and now, we're casting Brainstorm into top balance, and it's just like, I really need this Brainstorm to resolve. And it's like, well, shouldn't we not need that Brainstorm to resolve?
Yeah, this is a match, or this is a game at least, that I'm going to want to rewatch, regardless of the outcome, just because of the kind of the intricacies of how things have gotten to this point. Because now, as I was about to clarify the board state for those of you guys who may be listening and not watching or not keeping an eye on the screen, right now, both players with a ton of lands. Joe Bass has a Detention Sphere, which dealt with some Angel tokens, so that's fine. 1 top, 2 counterbalances. On the other side of the board, counterbalance top, Jace the Mind Sculptor on 3 loyalty, and Alex is playing like he's the one in complete control of this game, and he kind of is.
Yeah,
and his opponents had, like, I don't know how many free counter spells off of that counterbalance.
Yeah. It's just wild to me. And you can make an argument that, Alex has been, a little bit lucky that he's found Force of Wills to take care of Joe's threats, but again, there was never ever any rush. It's not like he's under any pressure.
Right.
He's not being attacked by anything. It looks like we're seeing all this mana tapped. Okay. And this is just on the end step.
Yeah.
But, he was never under any pressure to do anything, and he was just, do you have Force Will? It's like, yes. It's like, okay. That's like, do you have Force Will again? Yes. I'm like, okay. And, you can't just keep asking that question and your opponent keeps saying yes and you're being okay with it.
Right. Now, I wonder what, maybe Joe has a plan that we're not thinking about. Maybe he has some sort of game plan, but looking at his deck list, knowing what he's already, the resources he's already expended in the 3 Jace the Mind Sculptors, the 1 Vendilion Click, the 1 Batterskull, left in his deck, I believe he still has Snapcaster. He definitely has some number of Stoneforge Mystics, but those Mystics are Squires, because the only equipment in the deck is Batterskull, and that's in the yard. This is still game 1, so their main deck. He has 1 copy of Entreaty Angels. He's digging furiously to it, but even if he finds it, that is a card that can easily be answered if it can just be countered. If it even lands, like you said, Alex finds 1 answer to it. He's got in his main deck answers to a Resolve Entreat, 3 copies of Terminus, 2 copies of Engineered Explosives. No main deck Detention Spheres for him, but that's kind of a lot of answers, and I'm pretty sure they're all still available in Alex's deck, if not in his hand.
Absolutely.
Both players need to starting to take stock of what's in their graveyards, just so they can kind of keep track of maybe what's left in their libraries. As you see, Alex, I believe, is just continuing to tick up Jace. There's that Snapcaster Mage. And Snapcaster.
Wondering what kind of target, and Alex says, yeah.
Let
me spin this top really quick, see if I can find something to counterbalance that with. Just so I don't have to worry about that kind of a headache. And there's a 2.
It's a counterbalance itself. And
that's a concession.
Yeah, Joe's going to concede, and he was just in a good spot there, and I wonder what he was thinking, and maybe he realizes it. Maybe he's looking for the Entreat, I think, at the end. He's like, where was my Entreat? Where was my Entreat? But Entreat isn't an uncounterable spell, and those Angels aren't impossible to deal with.
Yeah.
In fact, he dealt with them himself.
Yeah.
So I don't know what his plan was. He was very much relying on that. So I believe we have some more trivia. You got a question?
Do you have a question?
No, it was your job.
It was my turn
Hi,
to
guys.
think of a question.
It was your turn.
I know, I was so engrossed in that game, I have to think of a question now. Alright.
While they were spinning tops and fetching,
Yeah,
you had plenty of
I
time.
didn't have any time to think of anything to ask.
That game just went by so fast.
I don't know what to tell you. I have no idea. Alright. I want to ask something about these deck lists, I thought. Oh, okay, sure.
You got something? All right.
I got something.
So let's you want to run down how they do this? Is that what you're going to do?
Yeah. Well, you want to run it down? Ask the question?
Sure, I'll run it down.
You're good
ask
at the
question.
rundown.
Okay. So we're going to give away 1 year of StarCityGames.com premium access to a random trivia winner. You have to get the correct answer. You have to include the hashtag SCG Premium. Whew, there it is. Yeah, get it. So yeah, just include that. Include the correct answer with that hashtag. You're in the running. One random answer will win a year of premium.
A year, that's a long time.
Cedric's going to ask you the question and go.
Okay, the question.
I should have. And I'm with Cedric Phillips, who will now speak.
So in Legacy, there are Miracle decks, different varieties.
Really? Even in the finals?
Believe it or not, there are. And in these Miracle decks, they often splash red in their sideboard for a certain card. And it is very consistent on what the card is that they splash red for. They board in a mountain, they board in 2-3 copies of a certain red card. In both of these lists in front of us, there are 2 copies in Alex's deck list, and there are 3 copies in Joe's deck list. If you are able to name the card that these blue-white Miracle decks splash red for, is it 3 each?
There's 3 each.
No, I can't count.
Okay.
There's 3 each. They normally splash 3.
Yeah.
They normally splash 3 of each of these cards. It is red. It's a lowercase r. You win.
Yeah.
A full year premium. You go ahead and just tweet over at hashtag SCG Premium the answer to the question. Again, the Blue White Miracle decks in Legacy typically splash red, a mountain, and 3 copies of this card in their sideboard. You'll find them in both the sideboards of these 2 lists that we are watching right now. If you're able to name that card, you'll win a year of premium. All you have to do is tweet the answer to hashtag SCG Premium. That's it.
There you go.
That's a question on the fly. What do you think?
There
Good?
you go. Very good. Very
Thank
good.
you.
It's something, you know, relevant to the list.
Very proud of myself.
What's a Mountain Dew?
What
Oh, it's a
doesn't it
soft
do?
drink. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
That joke is
I love
horrible.
reusing jokes.
It's horrible.
They're awful, and I just do them more than once.
It's just a terrible joke. But it's okay. I let these things go. So Alex he is up a game, considering his options, as is Joe. And as we look at Joe's sideboard here, you can see what he can board in. Here. You take a look and you see he has access to 2 Venture Shaper Savants, which is a very nice card. You're also going to find access to an Azoma's Jit, give him something else to be able to search for with Stoneforge Mystic. Not an ideal card in this matchup, but certainly not a bad one. You also find a Vendilion Click, a Disenchant, a Mountain, 3 red Elemental Blast, a Spell Pierce.
Emphasis.
Rest in Peace I don't think is coming in either Craft Trigger's Cage, so those are the best options available. And while you have Alex's deck list in front of you, what should he be rocking?
So Alex obviously defeated Darren Menard on the way to this finals appearance, and Darren was just playing straight up Stoneblade, which Joe's list is really not that far off. So I imagine the sideboard is going to be quite similar. He's going to bring in another counterbalance. He's going to bring in potentially another Terminus. We know that is one of the better answers to these Entreats. The other thing is, though, that Joe only has 1 copy of Entreat. So actually, scratch that. I don't think you bring in the extra Terminus, but you may leave some number in. He's going to bring in another counterspell. He's going to bring in 3 red Elemental Blasts, an additional Vendilion Click. He's going to bring in a Disenchant for potential Batterskull shenanigans, if that's something he expects. And he can probably bring in an additional copy of Engineered Explosives, which is, again, one of the better answers to a Resolve and Treat the Angels. So pretty similar. I don't think he probably didn't board in the Explosives last match because there were no Entreats to deal with, but the Explosive seems a little better here.
Explosives is pretty good here. Not only does it take care of Entreat, it also takes care of a counterbalance as a hit play. You can do a little bob and weave trick of making it cost 3 mana for counterbalance if he does draw a Academy Ruins or some other type of land to be able to make it cost 3 mana with a Sunburst of 2. A trick that not a lot of people know about, but it could come up this match, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, how does that work? Explain that again.
So if you pay 3 mana for your Academy Ruins, you can or excuse me, for your engineering explosives, you can pay 3 mana for it. And if you were to tap it with 2 planes and a island, for example,
Okay.
2 sources of white mana and a blue source of mana will actually have a converted mana cost of 3,
Right.
but the sunburst on it will be 2.
Yes.
And the reason that you would do that is because there are more 2s in a counterbalance deck than 3s in most cases, and so this is a way to get your engineering explosives through a counterbalance while still being able to blow up a counterbalance.
Yes.
It's a neat trick that people who play counterbalance know quite a bit. It was a big trick that came up in counterbalance some years ago when this deck was found out about by Jerry Thompson and other people across the internet. So it's a trick that I've always remembered, even though I don't ever play these sort of decks.
More recently, one of the other interesting interactions is with the Thalia, which makes the engineered explosives cost 1 more. So if you want an explosives for 2, you just kind of pay 1 and 1 extra mana, right?
Yep.
Just 2 different colors.
Yep.
And you've paid the extra 1 for Thalia. The explosive still comes in for 2 because that's how much mana was used to pay it, even if it was, announced maybe for 1, right? X is 1, or what, the
converted mana cost.
The converted mana cost is 1, and then you have to pay the extra 1 for the Thalia. Use a white and a blue, and you've got explosives on 2.
As we see, both players have kept their opening hand, and we are underway again, and both these players playing rather quickly here, hitting their land drops, getting things underway. Joe did take a mulligan to 6 this game, which we missed, but we wanted to get the game underway for you guys.
I did want to point out something, and someone on Twitter said this. Jacob Corey, actually, said this on Twitter. You wondering how to play Sensei's Divining Top correctly? Watch the Legacy Finals match. You don't need 30-plus seconds each activation. Yeah, both of these players spinning top, immediately deciding what they need, knowing what they want, their game plan. They're just, very rarely are they tanking on every activation.
Yeah.
So.
And you can tell, and you can definitely tell that both these players are pretty, they know their decks well.
Yeah.
And we had, are you sure of that number? We had 45 total activations of Sensei's Divining Top last game between the 2 players.
Who was counting?
Who counted that, you?
Oh. Choi turns red and says, couldn't tell us.
I don't know. It could have been anybody counting.
Could have been anybody. So, first spell of the game, as we see a fly bothering these guys too. Spell Stutter Sprite, making an appearance there.
He gets around everywhere.
Yeah, but it's a Vendilion Click that is actually on the stack for Alex, and
he could be setting up one of these turns again that you talked about last time.
Yeah.
During last match, just getting Vendilion Click out there, getting it countered just so that he can resolve a Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Yeah. If Joe wants to fight about it, that's one of the cooler things with Click and Jace. Click resolves. You look and see if they have an answer for your Jace. If they don't, you resolve it. If they do, you don't cast it. Right. Otherwise, if it doesn't resolve, if they want to fight over it, you've likely, potentially tap them out or run them out of their answer that they had to Jace. So it's a good situation to be in when you can follow up a Vendilion Click with the Jace the Mind Sculptor. We'll see if that's what Alex's plan was. Red Elemental Blast does deal with the Vendilion Click pretty easily, and maybe that just wasn't enough of a the coast is clear for Alex, because I think he's passed back, and Joe has end step brainstorming here.
Yeah. And for Alex, if he goes for it this turn, plays a Jace, it gets countered, and then Joe plays his own Joe plays his own Jace. It's a world of hurt. As we see another Vendilion Click here from Alex.
Alex is going to try the same thing. Joe cracks his fetch lands, and Alex actually does that plays the Vendilion Click in response. So it looks to have resolved. And who's the target? Who's the target?
Easy.
You. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Gotta be careful of that. As we see Force of Will, Counterspell, Stoneforge Mystic, and Arid Mesa as the cards there for Joe. Stoneforge Mystic going bye-bye.
And the interesting thing here is Alex is giving Joe back a card that he had just brainstormed away and was about to shuffle away. So Alex knew it was a card that Joe didn't care about.
He was putting it back. To have.
Yeah, exactly. So another advantage there to clicking at that point. Excellent play by Alex. Just absolutely getting the most value he can out of the Vendilion Clicks. All right, so Joe's going to draw a fresh card now. Plays a Brainstorm. One of the cards he found was a Brainstorm. Joe wants to dig back into this game and this match. Needs to take it to 3 to take down this finals.
We're going to see Flood Shrang get cracked, shuffle away The bad cards.
The back cards?
The bad cards.
Very interesting matchup here. It's interesting how different Game 2 has been already from Game 1. Game 1, both players started, I believe, on top. Joe had a turn 2 counterbalance, and it was, it was on from there. I think Alex had like a turn 3 or turn 4 second top. This game,
Boom.
there's a Jace the Mind Sculptor from Joe Bass, and it appears to have resolved. And he's going to Fate Seal himself, keep it safe from that Vendilion click. Just out of range. Click attacks Jace. Down to 2.
Yep. Gonna see a
Brainstorm from Alex. Now, what I was going to say was both players just piled up land drops before even casting a spell, and it wasn't until Alex had 4 lands, and I think Joe had maybe 5, I guess. Makes sense that Vendilion click was the first spell cast.
Yep. So see Alex considering what to do with his Brainstorm here. The attack with Vendilion click on Jace instead of Joe signifies basically to me and everyone probably at home as well that Alex does not have a Jace the Mind Sculptor to be able to Legend Rule the other one.
Either that or he doesn't want to use it. I imagine he just doesn't have it. But
Yeah.
it's more likely he doesn't have it, but there is a possibility that he has it, wants to save it until he can deal with Joe's Jace the Mind Sculptor and then cast his own.
We say Sensei's Divining Top, Resolve Brainstorm, or has already resolved. He uses Scalding Tarn, excuse me. Shuffling away the Brainstorm, getting a fresh top out, and getting a Volcanic out. And is this going to be an REB? Nope, this is going to be a Counterbalance, so he's trying to assemble the lock right now.
There's a Red Blast.
There's going to be a Red Blast.
Now this is something that if Alex can fight over it, he can't. Okay. So Counterbalance does not resolve. Jace still on the table. Very likely. Okay, he's going to Brainstorm here. And, yeah, the other thing is, for now, Alex actually has an answer to Jace. It's Vendilion click. He just has to attack it. I was going to say 3 times if Joe just continued to Fate Seal, but it's going to be twice if Joe doesn't have an answer to the click. We know Joe's answers to the click are clicks of his own. He's also potentially got some Swords to Plowshares, some number that he kept in the deck. He could also have bounced it, but that would have that was not what he decided to do. Brainstormed with Jace instead, and now adds Stoneforge Mystic to the board. It's like the All-Stars of Standard circa 2011. Jace the Mind Sculptor and Stoneforge Mystic. Getting the band back together.
The old boys? The crew?
The BANNED.
Well, at least this was never in Standard, right? Like this would be miserable if this was like a Standard format, where like Jace and Batterskull and good mana and Stoneforge Mystic were legal. That just seems out of control, just not fun. Probably have to ban something. No?
You completely missed my cool pun.
I went over the top of your pun.
You did.
I went way over the top. I accelerated. Yeah. Foot to the floor.
So Stoneforge Mystic is taken care of by a Swords to Plowshares from Alex, which is there in the graveyard with a huge, huge glare. That's right, we're not talking about what's in your hand.
Let's we see Vendilion. Is he going to finish it off?
I think you finish it off here.
I think you finish it off. Yeah, I'm surprised if he's going to hit him.
And,
okay, Caracas.
Caracas is going to bounce the click. Yeah, that was another good answer. I didn't even actually see that up there. I didn't see the Caracas in play.
So Jace is going to get to keep doing its thing. And you know about Jace, it only takes about 2 or 3 activations, so that thing spirals out of control.
Sure does.
And there's no coming back.
Alright, so Alex is going to spin his top.
Looking for a little bit of help.
Does he see a Jace on top?
I can't tell.
Apparently doesn't. There's definitely a Force of Will in there. Oh, it does have a Jace.
Okay. He was trying to get it dead by attacking, as we see a counter spell now. Okay, so he has Force of Will right on top here, so he's going to fight over this with a Force of Will, I believe.
Yes, so Sensei's Binding Top draws him a card. Force of Will on that counter spell, removing Vendilion click.
That was conveniently bounced via Caracas.
Yes.
Alright.
And we've got a clear board once again. Joe Bass was able to get a Brainstorm and a Fate Seal out of his first Jace. His second Jace, however, going to get a Brainstorm. So Joe Bass able to recover very quickly. Jace the Mind Sculptor back on the table. Brainstorm happens. Stoneforge Mystic happens. And I believe Batterskull is the choice. Joe Bass assembling his combo. Again, it's, you know, the all-star band.
We're watching a replay.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's like June 2011 up in here. Alex draws his card, drops his card, picks it back up. Fumbles the snap, but recovers. Falls on it.
Fumblerooski. Fumblerooski.
And Jace the Mind Sculptor from Alex yet again, and this time Legend rules without a counter war.
And a Swords to Plowshares, I believe. No, since it's
No, there's
top.
yeah, we know he had flipped that top earlier, so
Okay.
it's getting to be Batterskull time, I think.
It is almost that time. No reason to hardcast it. Just slide it right through the Mystic. Engineer Explosives. For how much? 2, okay.
Yeah, and you can see
Wants to be safer on counterbalance.
he wants to. It's basically it's seal of counterbalance right here.
Definitely counterbalance insurance there.
Alex spinning his top, trying to decide exactly what he wants to do here because he's kind of been on the defensive pretty much all of this match. Joe seems to be able to stick his Jaces, and Alex can only seem to legend roll them.
Now he's got a Batterskull he's going to deal with too. Here
Yeah, exactly. So right now, no Jace on the board to deal with, but Batterskull's going to show up right about now.
Tough to kill too.
How about a Fred Flintstone token? There it is.
Vroom.
Yeah.
Thought about swordsing it and then slowed himself down. We're gonna see hoo-hoo entreat the angels, ladies and gentlemen. Miracle effect is put on the stack, and we're gonna do this for looks like 4. Can't really tell how much. Looks like it's gonna be 4.
4 angels here? Yeah, looks like 4 angels. Alex needs a miracle badly. There's the angels. Yep.
They're like airplanes in the night sky. Shooting stars. Alex is really gonna need a wish right now.
Germ comes over alongside the Stoneforge Mystic, doing a nice little Squire impersonation at this point.
The best Squire impersonation.
Oh yeah. 5 damage.
Alex thinking to himself, Terminus, I need you now, more than ever. So we're gonna see swords.
So did he? Wasn't post combat, was it?
Can't quite tell.
I mean, Alex did drop to 13. I don't know if that was a hasty adjustment of life totals or if that was accurate.
Well, what's interesting here is he got the opportunity to swords that. He also has the opportunity to kill it because Joe Bass only has 2 lands in play, so he can't return Batterskull. But I mean, if he takes our Batterskull, you also have to take care of these 4 angels that are in play.
Yeah. Alex says,
okay.
"Oh, yeah.
You want to play? You want to play Magic with me? I'll make angels. I don't care."
It's an angel war."
I said he could really use a wish right now.
Yeah, he found something, and it looks like it's resolved because Joe's already progressing into his turn.
I got 4 angels. It's your turn, man.
Boop. Look at that, different angels. I even like that. like both players playing with different kinds of angels.
So now we can see something I didn't think we were ever going to see today, which is Batterskull could get equipped onto an angel, and then the beatdowns could happen.
That's spicy. 4 angels coming over. Alex with the opportunity to just trade his entreat for Joe's entreat. Obviously, this is lethal if Alex doesn't block. So
Blocking probably a good idea. Ooh.
yeah, he's gonna block
1.
Does he have Hitotsugu's second right? Is he gonna attack for 12 and then
Block 1, take
bang,
12,
10?
go to 4. Now this is truly interesting.
Yeah, I really
He must have something up his sleeve here. Maybe he has another retreat on top of his deck. I don't know.
kind of excited to see what his plan is, because
And the entire time we've watched him play today, he's had a plan.
yeah,
So
he's got something
this is
going
gotta
on
be
here.
second. No, it's not second.
Not
retreat.
another entreat, huh? Is he gonna go ahead and
Brainstorm.
gonna brainstorm? Okay, not the plan that I had in mind. Does have a red blast there. Not getting a great look at his hand, but not quite sure what he's thinking. I mean, he's not facing down a burn deck or anything, but 4 life still seems a little risky.
4 life ain't no joke.
Certainly thinking about something. He's got something in mind.
Caracas. Pass back, so no attack. Oh, Legend Roll Caracas, okay. We're gonna see Batterskull come back. Okay. You can tell he's trying to lead him into something here.
Yeah, because obviously right now Joe vials in Batterskull and is presenting lethal.
Sure.
Because the angels can all trade and then the Batterskull gets in alongside the Stoneforge Mystic. So there's got to be something going on.
Yep.
Yeah. Joe says everybody in, and we're going to find out quickly what that something is. We're going to spin top.
All right, that's it.
Nothing. Yeah, he did not have a plan.
Okay.
I'm kind of surprised. I would think I would have, if I didn't have a plan, which didn't seem like Alex had a real clear idea of way to deal with those angels. I think I would have just gone ahead and traded them all. You know
Yeah,
what I
I'm
mean?
a little surprised that he just took that
trade my
punch
entreat
in
for
the
your
face for
entreat.
12 damage. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, even though obviously he would like to have been able to do something to Joe's side of the board, like I don't know, he wanted to attack with his angels, but that was like the worst entreat ever. You know, when he entreated for angels, he never attacked or blocked with
them,
with 3/4 of them.
The classic thing is, if you're not attacking, you're not blocking. What are you doing?
Exactly.
With your creatures.
Yeah, they're not doing anything. He may have had something in mind, thought maybe he could draw into something. I don't know. I would have, if I were Alex there, I think I trade away all the angels and I try to keep on going. We knew at that point, I think Joe had already gone through at least 2, if not 3 of his Jaces. And that was his 1 entreat.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, I'm looking at Alex, but Joe does have 3 Jaces and just 1 entreat. I don't think he has any more in the board. You run him out of threats, kind of like you did game 1, and it's going to be tough for him to win. Now, of course, the situation there was if he trades all his angels, he's still got to deal with a Batterskull.
Yes,
although
and the Stoneforge Mystic.
that's a lot more. That's several more turns though that he could have gone on trying to find an answer.
Again, I agree. I was a little bit surprised. I truly was surprised by him just taking that on the chin that turn. I'm sure he had a reason for doing it, and I'd love to discuss it with him why. But sitting from our perspective, it did seem a little bit strange. Take it, no attack, and then dead. So.
Yeah, it was. I was actually, pretty excited because I thought he's only blocking 1. He's got some kind of plan. He's going to swing in for 12 here, and somehow
maybe Terminus or something, or Entreat again.
Or like Relentless Assault or something. I don't. It's just did not know what to expect there. So players getting ready for Game 3, the final game in the final match of the final tournament this weekend in Dallas-Fort Worth. StarCityGames.com Legacy Open is coming to a close very shortly. One of these guys will be holding a trophy and likely getting a little interview with Glenn afterwards. In the sideboard, you see Glenn there on the right using his improvised camera.
prowess. Look at always improvising, always
Oh,
on top of
absolutely.
his job.
Getting,
We give Glenn a hard time, but we love him.
getting a shot of Joe.
All right, love's a strong word. We like him. All right, we tolerate him. So our last, it's only fitting that it goes to 3. It has to go to 3, right? Miracle City.
Yeah, we did say it was, you know, pretty much a mirror match, and you know, it going to 3 makes a lot of sense. A lot of overlapping cards. Kind of all about who takes advantage of their windows best. And with this much library manipulation, you can't too much blame. You can't blame variance nearly as much as you can if you're playing something like, you know, Maverick that has very little library manipulation.
Yeah.
Goblins, things like that. It just cannot do too much. I mean, Goblins actually has some tutors and things, but
we tutor,
you know what I mean.
We tutor. We draw cards.
Oh yeah.
So we see
It's like a blue
counterbalance
deck.
coming into play here. How about a Spell Pierce? Spell Pierce, okay. Spell Pierce is
Spell
good.
Pierce works. So back to the gameplay style that we saw in game 1, where immediately throwing spells as early as turn 2.
It's a counterbalance free zone as we see a Scalding Tarn here. Alex shuffling up quite a bit.
And
counterbalance
Joe
here.
has counterbalance now. Alex cannot spell pierce that.
I think he would have fought with force of will of his own if he had one, so balance is in.
Yeah.
No sense he's buying top for Joe makes counterbalance, of course, a little bit less threatening, but you still can't control it.
Yeah, and counterbalance.
Now counterbalance. Flippy? Flippy ding ding! Flippy ding!
Alex's second counterbalance countered with
And no
Joe's counterbalance.
And no third land, and now Stoneforge
is,
Mystic. Oh boy.
It's right now looking very bad for Alex. He has had all his attempted spells countered, and all of Joe's spells have resolved.
This is not good.
Not how you want to start off the game 3 of the finals.
I know you said that Chihoi match went fast. This game could go fast.
It could.
Alex looking.
I will
draws
tell
his
you, I think
card.
Geist of St. Traft may have had something to do with that Chihoi match, but I could be wrong.
We're going to see a Brainstorm here. Balance, Brainstorm in response. So this is almost positively going to get countered now. We're going to see Swords of Plowshares reveal Scalding Tarn. Alright, so Swords is going to resolve on Stoneforge Mystic, so he's out of the woods in that problem. Now we have Joe's Brainstorm responding in response to Alex's Brainstorm. And don't forget that there is a counterbalance trigger on the stack for Joe to counter. That's a top.
Not the one drop Alex wants to see on top of Joe's
I'm
deck.
inclined to agree with you again.
This is still looking very, very bad
We see a
for Alex.
We see a Scalding Tarn to help reset the Sensei's Divine Top that's coming into play. Considering doing it now. And he is going to take care of that right now. Likely going to search himself out of Tundra.
Did I see a Venser Shaper Savant in Joe's
You're
hand?
darn right you did.
Thought that's what that was.
You know what that works well with?
Counterbalance top Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Also Caracas.
Caracas, yeah, that's right. It's like the Riptide Laboratory that doesn't cost mana to use.
So we see Stoneforge. And he's already got the Batterskull in his hand, so he's like, I'm happy not searching. Don't need to. And
Just a Squire.
there you go.
Squire that happens to present an uncounterable Batterskull next turn.
So Alex could be out of this game before this game even starts. You see a Sensei's Divine Top, you see a Counterbalance, you see a Stoneforge Mystic threatening to put a Batterskull into play for Joe Bass. Alex stuck on 2 lands, and I think he just passed the turn back, which he did.
He does have Disenchant. Now that's likely not going to resolve, but you know, he's going to go ahead and Brainstorm and try to get Joe to maybe flip the top. He's not going to have to because
Yes,
Red
yes.
Blast is on top.
Red Blast right there. That was an in-step Brainstorm. Alex draws his card. Doesn't look like another land to me. We're going to see Batterskull join us.
Joe Bass playing a little bit faster, it seems like. I think knowing that
He's going to try to disenchant this here. He's going to sack the Arid Mesa. That'd be... If this gets killed, then Joe put this into play too soon, because he's... Again, there's no rush.
Right.
Alex is stuck on 2 lands. You've accomplished your soft lock, and you have a way to win the game. So, this, in theory, should not get disenchanted, and the only reason that it would die to disenchant is due to the hastiness of Joe Bass. So let's see if Counterbalance plus top can save him here.
And he does have a spin at the top here available. Alex trying to... No whammies, no whammies, no whammies.
3.
Well, there's a Force of Will on top, so...
Force of Will. Draw a card.
He's going to go ahead and...
He's got the blue card.
Flip the top. Force of Will your disenchant. And yeah, Joe able to save it, not with Counterbalance, but top helped find the Force of Will.
Top is back into play. Last card in Joe's hand is Venser. In we go for 5, putting Alex on a 14, Joe up to 21. The race is on. It's rather one-sided, but it is a race nonetheless.
Well, it's a race where only one guy's racing. I don't really know.
It's a race to the finish.
Sure.
You see an Academy Ruins. Among other things there. There's the Academy Ruins now. Now he's got... The other thing is he also has the access to Venser for anything that actually gets through. Like Counterbalance, he has access to Venser plus Caracas now, so... It's almost impossible right now for Alex to get out of this, especially being stuck on 2 lands.
Yeah, and I wondered, going back to the early turns of this game, what Alex's plan was, because jamming out the Counterbalance on turn 2, it's just... I don't know that I do that unless I have some, reason for trying to get my opponent to, it's like I want to run him out of counter spells or something. And of course you want to run him out of counter spells, but what happens when he plays Counterbalance instead, or after you, and you don't have an answer?
Yeah.
It's just, I think that may have been a hasty play.
Alex's 3rd land there. He finally did draw a 3rd land. It was a Caracas. So he legend rules Joe's Caracas and does cast a Vendilion Click. We see 2 Jaces, a Spell Pierce, and an Entreat the Angels for Alex in his hand. None of those cards are coming online anytime soon. And Joe is giving the beatdowns, and it looks
Alex should be at 1 here.
It looks like we have Joe Bass walking away with a title this weekend. Venser here to bounce
a Tundra.
In case of any Terminus is the draw step. That's it.
And that's it. Joe Bass takes the finals from Alex Khanin, 2 games to 1. Miracle Blade getting the job done. And Joe Bass, after a finals appearance in New Orleans,